With sunsetting getting sunset, I was curious, is there any weapons from the past which could actually have a place in a modern day loadout? And to be more specific, weapons which can be pulled from collections, since I'm sure most random sunset weapons have been sacrificed at the altar of Datto by this point. First up, one I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with, the Wendigo GL3. The sunset version of this is not bad at all, and has some properties unique to it alone. The main perk combination of explosive light with auto-loading holster is quite nice for burst damage, and is probably still the best arc heavy GL option available. But what makes it even more interesting though is the combination of this with blinding grenades. This blinds nearby enemies, but importantly also reduces blast radius to 0. This in turn weighs the damage balance in favour of impact damage over explosive damage, which is a slight overall damage increase compared to heavy grenade launchers with a higher blast radius. Quick note, but I have heard rumours that this sunset version of Wendigo uses an older version of explosive light, which provides a larger than 60% damage boost. But from testing, I just haven't found this to be true. Also, having blinding grenades additionally allows this weapon to be both a boss damage option and a crowd control option all in one. Now this next one is a bit of a cheat code to skipping Gambit. The sunset breakneck you can pull from collections is now essentially the god roll I grinded for this season in Subsistence and Onslaught. The only thing really missing out here is the origin trait, which really isn't that valuable in Gambit weapons. All you have to ask yourself is, what would you rather do? Pull a weapon from the collections or Monument to Lost Light, or alternatively, potentially subject yourself to many Gambit resets? It's pretty obvious. The Persuader and other void rapid fire snipers, such as the Father's Sins, have absolutely spiked in popularity due to surge matching and easily activating Cascade Point on the new DPS King Edge Transit. But here's the thing, these weapons perk pools are actually terrible, to the point that a Persuader roll with one less perk and from the Red War campaign is honestly a competing if not better option. The scope increases handling, it has a mag extending option, and a small damage bump in explosive payload. And after the final shape, I have no idea if a Persuader will even be available normally, since it was part of the Season of the Witch loot pool. And here's an option what's just more for style points. Not claiming this to be meta, but it is interesting. The Oxygen SR3, which has a trait only found on this weapon, the Mega Neura. This has direct synergy with the other trait in Dragonfly, and improves its effects. With each crit landed, the damage of Dragonfly is increased, 67% at 1 hit, 134% at 2 hits, and 180% at 3 or more hits. As long as you're repeatedly landing crits, this can be continually refreshed. So technically this scout hits the hardest with its Dragonfly explosions, but is also still just a scout rifle. Finally, another classic. In a similar way to Breakneck, you can get variants of this weapon in a modern day equivalent, but it's just a pain to do so. In the Loaded Question. This weapon's static roll is auto-loading holster and reservoir burst. Perfect for firing off for extra damage shot against major enemies, or even to clear a group of adds with its added AoE. There are some more interesting options in the modern day equivalents for Loaded Question, such as Overflow with controlled burst. But as of recording, this weapon will not be featured again as a Nightfall reward, and may end up being rotated out entirely. So the collections roll is more than good enough. So there's my list. Of course, if you have that 5 out of 5 Dust Rock Blues or Kindled Orchid still hiding in the vault somewhere, they're great options too, but also likely lost to time. I hope at the very least I've saved some people from hours of Gambit prison. Thank you for watching.